Now we're recording.
Oh, yes, I know. The room told me so.
Oh, good.
I love how the room thinks like you're trying to like get something over on me. Like, hey, did you know that other bitch started to record?
She's trying to use something against you.
Has to be some kind of legal thing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But in Colorado, only one person has to give permission.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, okay, so does that mean that you as the one person can record somebody else without them knowing? Because you know it's being recorded.
As long as I'm recorded in the recording and say yes. So I have to say something. Tell me about that time you murdered your cousin. And as long as I said that in the video or the audio and I say, yes, I give permission for this to be turned over to whatever, it's legal in Colorado. One party.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so watch what you say, Coloradians. That's what you call them, right? Coloradans? Okay. I'm a pronunciation girl, apparently.
I mean, I wouldn't know that unless I lived here, and I'm not even sure it's true. I've heard Denverite a few times.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You guys get that local?
And then people here don't say Colorado. They say Colorado. So, Coloradans.
Yeah, see, isn't that what I said? No, that's what you said.
You said Coloradian.
Coloradians.
Something that doesn't sound, what is going on with this? Anyway, so I found out that you keep this beginning banter in our episodes.
Did you find that out by finally watching one of our podcasts?
No, I found that out. But listen here.
Okay, go ahead.
I was hanging out with Pam and she referenced my short hair, first of all. And I was like, I don't know that I showed her that. That was the first one. And then she brought up, what was it? Oh, we were cracking up yesterday.
Your tail.
Yes, my tail. You bitch.
We talked about it in the last episode. You were like, oh, if you want a funny intro, you can keep that in. I was like, I always keep them.
You said that? No. All right. Well, I only know what Pam referenced because I didn't actually watch the episode because I refuse.
We could get our viewership up to like 12 if you watch them.
Is it at 12? What is it out now?
I don't know.
4?
Like 30 something.
30? That's not bad. It was at like 4 a couple weeks ago.
I think our last one had like 34 or something.
That's exponential growth.
It is.
So, oh God, something else she said. She was like, I don't know if I like it so much because I just know you guys and I want to know. Like, she wants to know about your life.
Oh, so she actually likes the funny intros.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's I think they're great. I think it's the best part.
Yeah. She was like, I don't really care about the other shit. I think you're really fucking funny in the beginning. In that vein, I have something to tell you. I don't know that I told you this.
What?
So first of all, I just looked at your shirt and I was wondering if you got another Eat the Patriarchy shirt because I wear that shit all the time. Anyway.
This one is like this one.
I can't see it.
Is it backwards? It might be backwards on camera.
Gulf of Mexico.
It says Gulf of Mexico.
That's not even the name anymore. Isn't it Gulf of America?
It will always be its name.
Although now they're having a little love affair. But whatever.
Oh, who? Mexico?
Mexico's president. Yeah, Mexico's president and Donald Trump. That'll last like 4 seconds because she's female. But
yeah.
Anyway, remember last week I ate shit and fucked up my shoulder. And that whole thing was not what I expected. Okay, so here's what happened. I thought Remy, so she ate my, I can show you.
Remy is her dog.
Yes, Remy is my dog. And when she is bored because her mom, me, is lazy and doesn't take her to dog parks and she just gets like random walks during the day and that's not enough for her entitled ass, she does shit like this.
Nice. It's pretty good. Does it still work?
It does. Yeah. Check this out here.
Impressive.
Yeah, right? Just this is the power button. Just kind of, but it still works. It still works. And this is, by the way, the second one that I had to buy. This is just from Amazon. Roku remote. So this shit like this happens. And this is not it. There's shit all over my floor. She tore apart one of my plants. It's fine. All this tells me is that this bitch isn't getting enough attention, right? So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to take her hiking. I'm going to rent a cabin, right? And I thought more rustic, the better, right? Like,
okay.
Yeah, because you know.
For you or her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you know me. I'm the outdoorsy type. Sarcasm. Problem is, right? I got this cabin and I was like, how cool. It sits on like an acre, probably more. And Remy can just run around and avoid bears or whatever. And she could have all this room. And I was like, and it could be really cool. It could be rustic, and that's fine. And I can deal with that. It's just one night. I got there at like 1 or 2, and I was going to stay overnight, and checkout was like 11, right? Who can't handle that? Who can't handle less than 24 hours off the grid? Me. I can't. So I get there, okay? I get there and I thought there's going to be like Wi-Fi or TV or a toilet.
Wow, that rustic.
Okay,
Huh?
there was a toilet. Listen, okay, but it had no plumbing. Okay, have you ever shit inside without plumbing? Have you ever shit
No.
inside without flushing? No, right?
No.
That's fucking weird. It's fucking
Yeah.
weird. Okay, so I mean, it's rustic, right? Cool, all part of the experience. So I get there, and first of all, I realize no Wi-Fi. Let's be one with nature. There's a TV, but it doesn't work, which is fine, and 0 cell phone signal. 0. Like, not even the like, oh, there's like a single bar if I go up to the. No. It's like, dot, dot, dot. We're waiting to catch on to something. Nothing the whole time. So I'm there. And then I'm like, oh, wow. The toilet is like it's like a plastic bowl. No water, no nothing. It's just a plastic inside in like a closet I could barely fit into. And I thought,
Was there like a seat on top or no?
there
Not
was.
even that.
Yeah, like think of
Okay.
like it was like a bucket with a lid. There was nothing. There was no
Yeah,
water. There was.
I've seen them on boats.
Okay, on boats. See, I maybe can get with that from Florida. Anyway, so
And then you maybe chuck it. I don't know what you do with
I
it on a
don't
boat.
know, but I thought, well, I'm really glad I only have to pee, right? Because like if I'm shitting inside, I don't. What do you do with
What do you
that?
do?
Right? Like, and
Yeah.
you know what that, like, if your dog shits on the floor, you smell it from like 47 doors down. Like, I'm not. What are you gonna do with that? So anyway, I eventually did have to go, and I was not gonna do that inside because that's where I sleep. And this
In the woods, didn't you?
this is like, first of all, it's like 10. It's like I don't even know, 5 by 5, like just enough to fit a bed and like a hot plate, and then
Oh, you mean the entire place was 5 by 5?
yeah,
So you're like,
yeah.
you're gonna be like basically in the same room as your shit excrement.
Oh, and then eventually I did because I'm fucking human.
I mean, you're healthy if you have to. You'd be unhealthy if you didn't have to go.
Okay, well, I'm very healthy. And so here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. I couldn't bring myself to do this so close to my sleeping quarters. And I don't know if you know about Colorado, but it's fucking cold. It is cold as shit. And I was like, oh, this is cool because it's like 40 and I can deal with 40, right? No big deal. But turns out when you go into the nothingness, into the mountains, it gets colder because you're going higher. Something that I should have known. I've lived in Colorado for 5 years now. Like, I realize how stupid this is for everybody that's hearing it. I realize, okay, I get it. But I thought I was tougher than I am. I am not. And so there was a bucket. I probably shouldn't say this out loud in case this Airbnb host ever gets a hold of this. But I took, so
Oh God, what did you do?
I didn't do anything,
Okay.
nothing. I just didn't shit inside. There was a bucket that was intended to be a garbage can. So like there was a bucket with a big, thick garbage bag. I took it outside and did my business behind the cabin and left it out there because I wasn't gonna, I don't know, does that attract bears or does that deter bears? I don't fucking know. All I know is I'm not gonna sleep next to my shit. Okay. And I don't know that that's what was intended. There was a bag with a plastic. I'm sure people who are outdoorsy are going to look at this and go, bitch, this is what you were supposed to do. And you didn't do that. But that's okay.
I probably would have just tried to shit in the bag.
I mean, I kind of did, but you need to kind of sit, right? Like that's a lot of squatting. It's a lot of squatting. I'm not that healthy. I'm not that built. It's, I got to sit, girl. Listen.
Why don't they like bag the bucket? You know, like you bag
That's what I did.
the bucket and then a lid.
That's what I did.
Oh, that's what you did.
What?
Perfect.
But
That's
not
smart, dude.
Oh, good. Okay. I don't know. I'm sure there's a way to use this contraption that I didn't understand, which is fine.
Yeah.
Take away a couple of them. 1, there's just so much journaling a bitch can do. 2nd, I will never go to the bathroom without indoor plumbing. I'm not that person. Even when I went camping, I chose the camping sites that had the bathroom within walking distance with plumbing. I don't know what I thought. I don't know why all of a sudden getting out into nature with my fucking dog meant that I could be outdoorsy. I'm not. I moved to Colorado and I try to adopt some of these things and I fail every fucking time. And this is just another one of those. So 1, so much journaling someone can do. 2, indoor plumbing, a must. 3, Remy's an asshole no matter what because the bitch came back and chewed some more shit. Listen, I try, okay? I try. And this is kind of leading into our like relationships. I think that's what we're doing today, right?
Uh-huh.
Yep, cool. Okay. It's kind of goes into the relationship thing because I was journaling, right? You know about me right now, my relationship, all the things, okay? And so I'm journaling and I'm centering myself, whatever the fuck that's supposed to do, right? Gratitude and all that.
Mhm.
And takeaway number 4, you don't need to be in nature to do that. You don't need to be in nature to do that. I hope everybody learned something today.
Thank you for attending my TED Talk.
Thank you. I hope everybody's walking away from this just a little bit smarter. And then on my way back, because it's fucking cold, I slip and fall right on my fucking shoulder and jam it. So now I'm driving. I'm right-handed, trying to drive home the hour and a half because I had to go up into the mountains because it was important to spend money to have no Wi-Fi and to shit inside. Like, I don't. Is it me?
So this
Am I
was just-
wrong? Am I the one? Am I supposed to enjoy this? Coloradans make you feel fucking crazy. I don't drive a Subaru. And first of all, you're gonna wear Birkenstocks and drive a fucking Subaru and then be pissed off people think you're gay? That's cultural appropriation. Okay? No, you don't get to go home to your husband Brad in your Subaru and your Birkenstocks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well.
You cut that part out. That sounds bad. You know what? I don't give a fuck. Right there. This place is so confusing, Francis. Colorado is so confusing. I don't.
Thought everyone there was gay.
Nope. They certainly have the indicators. Of course. They all look gay. We wear flannel and Birkenstocks and fucking cargo pants, and then we go home to our husbands. Like, what? I don't know. I don't get it.
Maybe the kind of female that lives in Colorado is a little more on the tomboy side, you know? So maybe they're just more comfortable in
drive a
that.
fucking 4Runner. Or a Bronco, right?
You need something to differentiate you. Come on.
I'm just saying.
Oh, shit. Man, I'm just not doing anything right today.
Today things feel a bit more difficult, but I'm going to achieve it. So it only took 20 hours of journaling and no plumbing to come up with that.
Good job.
You're welcome. I'm here for you.
So, did you know the place like didn't have
Yeah.
a
I knew
bathroom
all
or
of it.
plumbing or
So not the
Okay.
Wi-Fi. There was no mention of Wi-Fi, and so I guess omission is enough for Colorado. I feel like it should probably explicitly say that in 2025, but that's all right. No worries. I didn't really want the Wi-Fi anyway. It was more about the plumbing. I thought, like, I want to unplug.
So what did you think you were like? What was the
right.
intent of going to this place and doing all that? Just
I don't know. People say, be one with your thoughts. That's fucking, it's misery. I know I have a lot of work to do. I know. I thought I can disconnect, and I thought I won't be distracted by conveniences. I was certainly not distracted by conveniences, but there was like a fire pit. It was great, but it was just too cold to
Aw.
enjoy any of that. And so like it really just concentrated on the lack of plumbing and a frozen ass while I was trying to go to the bathroom outside. Like all those things really took some of the joy, the experience of just connecting and reflecting and seeking insights and, gratitude for the life that I live because I have so much to be grateful for, but I forget that. Yeah.
it sounds like it might have worked in that way.
I mean,
But you came back grateful for like
Plumbing?
indoor plumbing.
I did.
I'm not sure if that's what you were striving for.
It wasn't. And I got some good journaling done because when you don't have Wi-Fi or TV or the ability to be outside for very long, you don't do much. And so I think I have a good probably 10 pages worth of journaling that got done there.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And for some reason, I feel so compelled to use cursive when I'm journaling. Why is that? Like someone's going to find it in 30 years and not be able to fucking read it. But like, I don't know why. I never use cursive. I don't ever write. I'm typing all day long.
I'm trying to think. Like sometimes I'll take notes
Do you
for
use
work
cursive?
and stuff. It's like a mix, you know?
It's definitely a mix because I don't know how to do some. Tell me how to write a Z in cursive. Nope.
Oh,
I'm sorry. What was that?
it was like this and then like this. Oh, or are you looking at it this way? Just think, remember Billy Madison?
Yes. Buzz. What do mine fucking look like? Dude. Okay, how about Q? Q.
Q is stupid. Like a capital Q in cursive is like a 2.
Right.
But then in lowercase, it's
Well,
just like a
that's
circle and then
fine.
like a
Yeah. Lowercase is fine. What's the uppercase Q? Please show us. Do you have a
Q.
pen and paper over there?
Here. The only thing I have on my desk is graph paper. Like, that's like a capital Q. It looks like a 2.
I would have never come up with that. I don't.
It might be a little better.
That's a 2, Francis. Those are numbers. We're talking about letters.
I'm pretty sure that's a capital Q.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I don't. Well, when you're writing 10 pages with no Wi-Fi, it's not like I could look it up.
That's what I'm doing.
Yep. See, and then if I'm writing print, it's either completely illegible because it's just incomprehensible scratch, or it's all in capitals and incredibly readable. Those are my 2 print options with my handwriting.
Wait, so
And then
when you print, you write everything in a capital?
if I'm really trying to like, this is my to-do list and it's going to happen, that's going to be in capitals.
See the 2?
That's a 2.
Yeah.
That's a 2.
That's a capital Q in cursive.
With a little circle on the top, like a hangman. And I don't know how many Z's and Q's I wrote, but I definitely came across a few that I'm like, I don't really know how to do that.
A Z is something like that, like a 3. See, you just weren't thinking numbers enough.
There's no way I was ever going to get that. Buzz.
Oh my god, that's great.
Yeah.
It is so funny how much we learn from like movies and TV and shit.
Or how much we forget because of movies and TVs and shit. Or
Yeah.
accept as truth because of movies and TV. Okay, see, now I see myself glitching. Fine. I feel like the audio is the most important anyway. Like everybody who I talk to who listens to this is like, oh, I don't watch it. I just listen to it.
Really?
Which makes me feel a lot better about the beanies every week because I refuse to wash my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm weird. I'll listen to the audio and then I'll watch the video.
Does it not bother you to watch yourself?
Not anymore. I got used to it. I think I had more of an issue listening to myself.
Oh.
I hate the way my voice sounds recorded. Always have. Like, even when I do trainings and shit at work, and then I listen back and I'm like, oh, gross. Who is that?
Wow. Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
I feel.
But I got over it pretty quick.
I think my takeaway was always that my voice is like so much more gritty than I hear when I'm speaking. But when I hear it back, I like there's a lot of grit that I didn't realize is there. It's weird. I don't know.
It's so weird that we hear these differences. Or even when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, oh, I look different than I think I look. You know, or I sound different than I think. But we all do it with ourselves. It's odd.
I do think you sound different in the recording. It's you. I could identify it. Like if I just heard you randomly and you were doing this podcast with someone else, I'd be like, oh shit, Francis is doing a podcast. Like it's definitely you. I can hear myself when I'm doing this, right? Like I can tell that this is going to be gritty, but I don't feel like that's what it is all the time. I feel like I'm up here most of the time. But when I hear the recording, it's like, no, you have some gritty vocal fry at the end of everything you do. Cool. It's whatever. We're millennials. We're supposed to have fry, aren't we? Vocal fry.
I don't know what vocal fry is.
It's like when you speak, you know, when a lot of women speak and they'll be like, so it's like the fries at the end. Yeah.
Like it goes up. Ours, what? Our millennials were supposed to go down?
Vocal fry is up or down. It's just like that added at the end of the things that young people say. Basic young people, usually. It was really an insult to myself. Are we going to talk about relationships or are we avoiding this?
Yeah, no, let's do it. Wait, are you a millennial? I thought I was the last year of a millennial. Wait, oh no, people younger than me are millennials. And you are younger than me. That's right. Okay. Yep. Got it.
Are you a Gen X? No. Okay.
I'm the first year millennial. And it's funny, my niece, she's the last year of the millennial. And we're like 14 years apart. I think the whole thing was 15-year span, right?
Weird, right?
The whole generation. Yeah. Because we're totally at different points in our lives. You would think
I know
they'd have different generations.
Strange. I think that if we're actually going to do the research about this, we need to like find subgroups because it's not. And older millennials like you and I were born in a very different time. Like we were entering the workforce during the greatest depression we have ever seen since the Great Depression. Like our lives were a little different from the ones that were 10 years post, right?
When they were born, there was already the internet.
Yeah.
They've never not known the internet.
And I do think
that in itself is kind of a huge thing.
And I think that's what speeds up generations, right? Like it speeds up the experience
Yeah.
of childhood. Like I remember most of my childhood without internet. Like I don't think we had internet till I was like in high
Me
school.
too.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I remember
I
having
was definitely teen. I think when I got into it was I was probably like 13. I want to say AOL was a popular thing in like 94.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have been 13.
That was like the
so.
OG. I was talking to my friend at the time, actually my boyfriend at the time. Yeah. Yeah. Whew, different life. 13 or 14 years old, whatever the fuck we are. And I was like, it's asking for my email address. What the hell is my email address? What does that mean? And I couldn't figure out that I had to put at AOL or whatever to like give someone my email address. I remember that. And we had this whole conversation and he was explaining to me like email address is this and then you go here to check it. And it was like the first time I've ever heard
Yeah.
14. Can you imagine these
Yeah.
people?
I was always thrown off because when I was younger, the at meant around. Like we would always sign like Francis was around. And it would be like A and then you didn't do that? Come on. Tell me you did that. No.
Back home Texas shit are you talking about?
How old am I? Come on. But you'd be like, Francis was around. That was not a thing? No. Shit. So then when I realized that meant at, that just kind of blew my mind. I was like,
I don't remember that meaning anything except for at in my whole lifetime.
Really?
Yeah. That might be Texas or California specific, whatever other states you lived in.
It was the backwoods one.
So when we're in Austin, like you want to go see your fam? Okay.
No.
All right.
It's too far away anyway. Like,
is it? I have no idea where they live.
Yeah. They're like by the coast, by the Gulf.
The Gulf of America.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You seem triggered every time I say that.
Friday night I went out with my sister. Basically, we have a tradition now that every time she's here, we go hang out at this hole in the wall kind of place called Conley's. And that's why we go there, because Conley was my maiden name. So it was like a funny family thing. So we started going there one year. And now every time she comes, we go.
Where is Conley?
It's right down the street from your old house.
Yeah.
Yes.
We went there.
We did. I think we went there and played pool one time.
Yeah, that's that memory right now of us in that fucking bar. Like, I wasn't who I am today. There's no fucking way I went into that bar who I am now without something to say about the people in that bar. We were very different humans back then. In the neighborhood I was living in, like, how many Trump flags do you think are in fucking CP estates?
Right.
Hell no.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
There was a guy there, I don't know, younger, mid-30s maybe. Big dude. Your typical, I guess, redneck kind of looking guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're allowed to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Your average typical country boy. Yeah, I'm sure he drove a big lifted truck, I'm definitely going to stereotype this dude. And he had a black shirt with the American flag, but the black and white one. But instead of United States of America, it said Gulf of America.
Can't, dude. I don't like. We are supposed to talk about relationships today, Francis.
I know.
Do not put me onto a soapbox.
Well, I'm not triggered. I'm not triggered by it. It's just every time you say it, I remember the guy in the shirt.
The guy in the shirt. I mean, that's your life still, dude. You're living out there, man. It's funny. Like, all of that now.
You don't see that stuff in Colorado?
I mean, yeah, if I went to other parts of Colorado, but where I'm at in Denver, no. I still see Kamala posters, and we have our gay and trans flags everywhere. It's still Denver. There's rainbow flags still on every corner. Like, that's why I moved here. This is why I'll deal with cold and hiking and Colorado activities and all the things I don't understand, because I can walk down the street in my beanie looking like a real ass lesbian without anybody really giving a shit and probably thinking I'm straight. So I'm good. It feels good. It feels fine. I feel safe. It's fantastic. I am out and proud at work. I have no qualms, like, and all of this is a privilege. I recognize that. But like, I don't know that I could survive down there anymore. I don't know about survive. It's not about survival. It's like, it will eat me up inside. Like, I don't know that I can walk around with that much anger and frustration.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can totally survive it.
Right.
It's just,
Yeah.
I spend most of my days going like this. It's just a lot of eye rolling and
I mean, and that happens here. There are, whatever. But this is a blue city. Like it's,
yeah.
I hope always will be. And if it's not, I will move further west. We went to Wyoming. That's what you think it is. And then Cripple Creek, where I went to Plumbing Less Land, also the
Huh.
same. You go into like the Rancherville and you're back in Trump Nation. So anyway, relationships. Did you write any notes for this, or are we just gonna, do our thing?
I did not.
Mm.
Figured we'd just do our thing.
So when I thought about this episode, I was thinking like, I don't know, dude. Like a huge percentage of my cognitive energy is spent on trying to figure out where I went wrong in my romantic relationship, right? But also like my previous ones. And this was one of my recent lessons is that like people knowing that you're human is actually kind of a good thing. But we can go there. All right. Well, when I suggested this episode, it's because a lot of my thoughts recently have been like trying to figure me out. Like I think I've invested so much time in creating like this external persona of like, you can't hurt me. That's not something you can do. Like, you're not important enough, right? It's kind of like my general when I feel hurt or when I feel threatened by either even my partner or a friend or whoever, it didn't matter. Like, my first reaction has always been like, you aren't important enough at all to affect me, right? And that's fucking mean and wildly untrue. So untrue. But like the mapping that I'm kind of doing, and I'm a fucking therapist. Like I should have been doing this a long time ago. I know that these things are maladaptive. I know that thinking that way or putting off is really just isolating me as a human in the world in which I live. I know that. But I started to like map where this came from and trying to understand like why the fuck is it so important, why is it more important for people to believe that they can't get to you or can't hurt you or that you're too tough to care about what people think of you? Where did that come from? And that I can tell you, it doesn't sound like much, but it has reverberated through my life since I was a fucking child. All of my relationships have been affected by this somehow. All of my romantic relationships, for sure. So I started to think, and this has been the work the last few years, right? Like, what would happen if I just didn't lean into the people that I believe love me, right? And actually believe that. And so I've kind of been on this rampage, and you were part of it, right? When I was in Florida, I was like, I'm losing my fucking mind. I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know why this is happening. Christy, one of my other people in Florida, said the same thing. Like, I was in Pam's bed crying, which I don't think any of you have ever fucking seen me cry, right? The mind fuck is that, like, doing the exact thing that I've avoided my entire life has been the key to opening those friendships and opening those relationships in a way that I'm experiencing what I've always wanted to. So, in essence, I've been my own fucking problem this whole time because I've not been able to trust anybody, even the people who have always taught me and shown me that I can trust them. It doesn't matter. It wasn't about them, right? It was about
Mm-hmm.
not being able to open myself up to being hurt in a way that ever actually allowed people to know who I am. You and Christy and Pam, and obviously like your exceptions, but that's 3 people in 40 years of life. It has been a real mindfuck lately, and that's kind of where I'm at. And I have been mapping through all of my relationships, and we could talk about as many of those as we want to, but they all end in the same way. And there's a reason for that, right? Like,
Have you gotten any idea like where this inability to be vulnerable came from?
mm, I mean, any good problem comes from your parents, right? I mean, that's that's just how that works. There's a,
That's what childhood is about,
I
right?
mean, that's pretty much how that works. But oh god. And what's funny is that this work has also allowed me to give a little bit more grace to my parents because I do think that it's easy to just say they didn't do this or they should have done that or why didn't they do this, and then you're left with this massive thing that you have to work through for your entire life, and it's easier to find someone to blame than to actually do the work to make it better. And I'm not there yet. Don't don't act like I'm this existential expert, because I still blame the shit out of them for a ton of stuff. But like, that's where it came from. You know this, but for our four listeners, I I come from a relatively traditional nuclear family, right? My dad worked. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. He was an entrepreneur. She worked in his business a little bit when he needed the help or whatever, but mostly she was a mom, right, to us. And I think she started working when I was a teenager. And so the nuclear family, that we were Italian and we were Catholic and we went to Catholic school our whole lives, right? Like nothing ever felt right for me. Nothing ever felt right. I was never what my mom thought I should be, right? I was never what well, either parent, right? I wasn't feminine. I liked sports. I hated wearing dresses, which I had to do every fucking day for our uniform. I didn't like boys in the way that I thought I was supposed to like boys. But all of these things were the things that would connect me to my mother. Liking boys and being feminine and getting my nails done and wanting my hair done and talking to her about my friendships and all the like, those are the things that would connect me to her that I didn't give a fuck about. So I don't think she understood how to know me, or how to not try to like guide me in the way that she thought the world would be easier on me if I was more feminine, if I was thinner, if I was whatever, right? But to me as a kid, it always felt like you're not thin enough. You're not straight enough, you're not girly enough, you're not anything enough, right? And so I have now I'm wearing this like inadequacy jacket. And that inadequacy jacket turned into that armor that says, I don't give a fuck if you don't think I'm feminine enough. I don't give a fuck if you don't think, blah, 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 right? And then I become this person like, and then that started working for me because people love it. People, well, you know this better than anyone, that people
Mhm.
love this, right? They love it when they can't get to you and then you give them even a bit of attention, right? Like these are the inner workings of a bully. Like I am really grateful I didn't turn out to be a bully, but like I was closed off for sure. People could not get to me. And then when I let people get to me, not in a bad way, but like let people in to be my friend, or said yes to hanging out or whatever, they were putting me on this pedestal because I'm this person that's so hard to know. What made me feel safe in those scenarios is the fact that I kind of have this power structure, right? This like, I'm going to just let you know as much as I'm going to let you know, and you're going to want to know so much more. And that imbalance is what kept me safe in friendships and in relationships and in all the things, right? So, like,
Uh-huh.
again, I can blame my mom all day long, but I brought this through every single relationship I've ever had, in that I'm not going to open up. I'm going to protect myself, and you're going to have to peel my layers little by little, and every time you try, I'm going to smack you down because it feels unsafe. And so how can relationships, especially romantic, this has been my work, and mapping these through my relationships. Oh my god, Francis. Sorry to all of you. I am an absolute dickhead. Like I don't know what else to say. Like, and it doesn't mean that like those relationships weren't frustrating. Yeah, they were, right? Like all the things that broke them up exist. Yeah, they did. And the way I handled them, the way they probably felt during them, the way that like they ended, I don't have a damn thing to be proud of in that way. Right? So like I'm starting to think, and I want to say, "Oh, I'm such a good person." Right? I think about others and I have all of these really progressive views because I think everybody should have these things. And but in my actual relationships, like people don't feel, I mean, hopefully they do now, or at least in the last few years, but like there's no way that my romantic relationships felt safe for them. They were probably always chasing something I was never willing to give. And that's fucked up. I can stop so you can speak. Sorry. I can go on for days.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to think about that because I've been on the outside and I've seen those relationships
Yeah.
and how that goes. And I can understand it better if I can understand it from my perspective. And one of the things that I personally have been working on is the things we do and say aren't always exactly what it is that we're trying to do or say, or what we're trying to get out of it. So, for example, I might bitch to Andy about not doing the dishes. But it has nothing to do with like, hey, I need you to help me with dishes. It's I just want you to appreciate me for doing the dishes. Like it's that sort of thing where we just don't effectively communicate. I guess a lot of in relationships and stuff when you fight, you try to make sense of the other person's feelings and you can't necessarily do that. Like a lot of the times emotions aren't rational, you just feel how you feel. So a lot of what we're doing is just trying to work on not so much I can understand the way you're feeling, but like I can understand your feeling and your hurt or whatever. And that's the focus, not how you feel or why you feel that way. Those things are irrelevant sometimes. It's more about just making the person feel supported. And I imagine that was extremely difficult if it ever happened in your relationships because you couldn't let them know you felt what they're doing hurt you or that you cared that they were being hurt. You had to put the armor on and be like, hey, I'm doing my thing. I don't give a fuck. There's the door if you want it. So that you didn't have to get to a vulnerable state. Even though you were saying that you didn't have those feelings, doesn't mean you didn't have those feelings. You were just saying it or even just telling it to yourself so that,
You know what it
foul.
is? I think I told myself that so often that I started to believe it. And
Yeah.
now it's almost like an intrinsic thing. Like if I feel hurt, slam. Like that, it's just that armor's on and you mean nothing. It's not that you actually don't mean anything. It's in that moment you don't. And it's
Yeah.
not intentional. I shut down and I think that is I would say what you just said is probably the biggest and hardest thing in my current. Like I struggle to comfort when or even what you were saying, like looking at the emotion, ensuring your partner feels safe in the moment or comforted or loved or understood in the moment is more important to understand what they're feeling rather than what they're saying and doing. I don't know how to do that because
Mm-hmm.
the minute I'm told I'm the reason that she feels that way, I'm done. Like, no, I didn't do that. What are you accusing me of? Or what do you mean? That wasn't my intent and that's what you took away? Like, oh, that's what you think of me? Right? Those are the reactions. Because if I show up vulnerably, it's already so hard. It's already so against my nature. It's already so like that if the response to that is, yeah, and you did this and that, I'm like, excuse me, I just did what you asked of me. I just did what's uncomfortable for me. I just did what you know is probably the hardest fucking thing I can ever fucking do. And your response is to still tell me while I'm the villain? That's my response, right? She's hurting. And the armor is on. The armor is on because I was raw. I wasn't received, which should she have to receive me every fucking time? No, she can't be perfect just like I can't be. But that's what happens. Like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this differently. I've done my work. I've done my journaling and I'm going to enter this conversation and I'm going to be ready. If she doesn't show up thankful for my gratitude and vulnerability and creates that
Oh
safe
my
space.
God, you're JD Vance.
Oh, shut up. Shut the fuck up. I hate you so much right now.
Did you even say thank you?
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Not
Go
what I
ahead.
meant. But that's the maladaptive part of my brain saying, I showed up and I did my part to be here, and then you just come back with more figurative punches. Like, how is that effective? And then
Yeah.
I put my shit back on, and then we're off to the races.
It seems kind of like a snowball effect. The more you push back on the logic of her feelings, the more she feels she needs to defend them. And you need to understand why she's feeling away. And then that just comes across like, here's why you're the villain. But really, she's just trying to be like, I'm not crazy. Like, I'm feeling these things for a reason and trying to explain why she's gotten to the point she's gotten to. And you're just hearing it as you're the reason. But really, I think she's just trying to get you to understand
Yeah, no,
that.
she probably says you're the reason. Whether it's true or not. Like, that's what I can't decipher when I'm in that highly emotional state. She doesn't actually believe that I'm what she's saying. So really, if I just slow down and figuratively took the punches, but created a space to say, like, I don't really think you believe that, or I think we need to calm down and talk about, like, I'm never doing any of that. Not that I'm not willing to, but I'm not. I can't. I have a hard time. That is my thing. I can't stay calm enough to be the voice of reason when I'm also being seen as the problem. And objectively, we see each other as the problem. I think she's the problem. She thinks I'm the problem. And I think that in the worst of times, when we're actually doing work and we're constructive, we see the dynamics. But that's the hardest thing when we're in a highly emotional state. I have a question for you, actually.
Uh-huh.
I always wondered if what bonded you and I is what I'm talking about. Because the you can't hurt me, I don't give a fuck about you is at least how I perceived you. We met. And for many, many, many years. And I think because we were like each other is why we bonded. Like, I couldn't pull that with you, it wouldn't work. And you couldn't pull that with me because it wouldn't work, right? Because both of us would just shut off and say, fuck you, and go our opposite ways, right? But our friendship meant too much to let that happen. So then we had to learn to communicate differently. And the stakes were lower because there was nothing romantic, right? So, like, I don't want to lose my friend, and Fran is already pretty safe. We've been friends for so long. I can probably go back to her and be like, hey, let's talk about whatever happened. And then that just kind of ended up being a natural thing we do rather than letting it, like, we'll get pissy and we'll, bicker, and then we'll normalize and be fine. And I don't know how we developed that or why, because this relationship, I would say, is probably one of the most adaptive I have, right? Like, you and I have gone through separations, different states, closeness. There's been some times of distance, like emotionally and friendship wise, but we always come back and we're right where we started. Like, there's always been this like understanding of, well, that's just us and we're fine. And I don't know why we are able to achieve that. I haven't been able to do it with many other people. And the only thing I could think is our similarities, because you were that way. I remember that time at Best Buy. Oh my God. I love that story.
Are you talking about
Yep.
when you were working it as a media soup? It's always the one that I go to. I don't know why. Was that like our only fight or something?
No,
What?
girl, we used to fight all the
Why
time.
is that the only one I remember?
I think because it was the only time not the only time. I think it might have been the first time or one of the first few times that like you were contradicted in that space, right? Because you were okay, I'm just going to say it. Sorry.
I was a bitch.
Well, yes, but Frances was queen bee at Best Buy. And say it's not true.
Oh, no, I was just going to say not because I tried.
Well, no, because what you did was put an air of you can't get to me and you're never going to get close to me. And then everybody wanted to be close to you, right? It was the same tactic I had used my whole fucking life, right? I saw it from a mile away. So when you did it, I was like, this bitch thinks something, right? And so when we finally started to talk and become friends, you tried the same tactics on me and they didn't work. And I tried the same tactics on you and they didn't work, right? And so it was like, But I think
And
I
remember the feeling too. I was like, oh, this is new.
Yeah.
What do I do here?
Yeah.
It was odd.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think we gave each other that experience for the first time. I don't, maybe not the first time, but a time that it mattered because
in
the
a
relationship
real
mattered, right? Because it only works to dismiss people when you don't actually care about them. So when you do care about them, that tactic is pretty dangerous, right? Anyway, so we were at Best Buy. Were you my boss at that time? Or were we equals at that time? I don't remember.
I think so. I think I was a soup and I think so were you.
Yeah.
I might have been a manager. I think I was inventory manager at the time because you were like putting out CDs or something.
We were prepping for either a PlayStation or an Xbox release. So we had to create all kinds of space for all the fucking accessories and bundles and whatever was coming, right? Do you remember that now? I think that's what it was. Pretty sure.
I don't remember the specifics.
Okay. Either way, me as a media supervisor, whatever it was at the time, I was responsible for DVDs, CDs, gaming, and car audio, I think. Car stereos and speakers and stuff or whatever. So I'm the supervisor of these departments. And Frances is either the supervisor or manager of inventory and
merchandising.
And so my department had to do a merchandising overhaul because we had a release. And so we needed to get all the accessories and everything out. So I went to Francis, who is responsible for the merchandising of the store, because I didn't want to fuck shit up. And there are planograms, like there are things, they tell you what to do. You can't just do it yourself. So I'm sitting there and I'm moving the hooks and I'm trying to find the space, and I'm sitting there talking to one of my staff, and we were trying to like game plan, but Francis had a different idea. Francis wanted something else to be happening. And I don't know what that was. I don't remember, but I do remember her coming up to me because I was still doing what I thought was best for my department. I was moving around things and it wasn't what she wanted me to do. So she came up, it was myself and my staff, and she came up and I don't remember what you said. What did you say?
I don't know, but however I said it, I think you didn't appreciate that I said it to you in front of your staff.
That's right. I don't remember the words. It was basically like what you're doing isn't what I think you should be doing, and I'm going to say that in a really divisive and shitty way. It was pretty much how I remember it. And I remember what I said. I said, if you want to talk, we can talk, but we're not going to do that in front of my staff. So if you want me to meet you back there in a few minutes, I can do that. Back there being her office. But we're not going to do this out here.
And I probably said, what?
You didn't say anything. You said nothing. You made that face and then about face and went back to your office. I remember that.
That was about right.
And that was, I remember inside of me, so much panic because you were you. You were Queen Bee. You were my best friend, but you were also Queen Bee. And I just challenged Queen Bee. I remember having so much anxiety, but at the same time being like, and again, it was half, she's not going to talk to me that way. Fuck her. She's not going to be able to ego. But at the same time, like, your ass shouldn't have been talking like that in front of my staff. Right? Like, so it was, it was this like, in my head, that whole day was fucking awful. And I remember that. I don't think it's until many years later that I was like, we are so similar. And that's what happened that day, is our similarities clashed. Not anything else.
I think even after that, though, I came up to you after that and you were like in the CD aisle doing something. And I was going to be like the bigger person and just apologize and, expecting you to be like, oh, yeah, me too, my bad. But whatever happened when I came up to you, I got like the I don't give a fuck kind of attitude. And I was like, oh, I think that's when it might have hit me for the first time. When I was like, oh, shit. She's like, hey, I don't care if you don't like it. There's the door kind of attitude. Like I would give people when I know I'm right and I'm being challenged or whatever. And I was like, oh, shit. I'm going to actually have to be the vulnerable one here. And I'm pretty sure I was.
You were. Yeah.
I let you have it. I gave you the win.
And
it wasn't easy.
And Queen Bee was taken down a notch. No, I'm just kidding. That's ultimately probably what I was thinking at the time. Like, who the fuck does she think she is? Like, I'm nobody's worker bee. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I do think that was maybe the solidification of our relationship.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because for me, it definitely, whatever happened inside, I knew that this was a very important relationship that I wasn't willing to just,
flip it.
Oh, yeah. All right, fine. There's the door was not a thing. I had to admit it.
Mm-hmm. Is it me?
Yeah. I mean, we've been friends for years at that point. It wasn't like we were just kind of like acquaintances or worked together or whatever. Like we were.
I don't remember the
timeline
for actually maybe a couple of years.
I mean, if you were in media, it had at least been because you were like digital and then operations and then media. I think it had been a little while.
I don't remember. I was hired by Danny, rest in peace, bro. And that was for cameras. I was in digital. And then I was operations senior, promoted over a bunch of other people and people of color because of my relationship with Anna and Wanda. I know that now. Thank you. Not that I wasn't good at it, but there were other people that might have been better qualified. You live and learn and grow. And then DIY Phi Soup at 688. And then,
well, then it must have been after that. Because you were definitely a media soup when this happened. Or you were media before you went to 688.
Maybe that's what it was. I think that's what it was.
I think you went, yeah.
And then 688, Dominate. And then Mike, that fucking dickhead. Anyway, I can still get angry.
Yeah, you don't even remember the people.
You don't remember. He was like the wonder kid, the 25-year-old GM that thought he was all shit. And then he got fired for calling, what was his name? Jose, I think? Called him a stupid Mexican, and then he got fired. You don't remember that? Oh my God.
Jose, like the other GM?
No, 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 no. God, he was that really cute kid that was in like inventory, and then he worked in computers.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, that's why he was fired.
Huh. Oh,
Maybe
good.
he probably wouldn't be fired today. Anyway,
Oh, yeah,
um,
not today.
I don't know, dude. Oh my God, I could still get angry about Best Buy. This is like straight up 20 years ago.
I I don't think I get angry about it. Or honestly, I try to believe that most of that was just a really long, hard learning experience.
Nightmare.
And it definitely shaped me and I mean everything as a person, as an employee, like it definitely did a lot for me, but it also sucked in the moment.
Dude, I remember so I left Best Buy and went to grad school. You stayed here and you, I think, started working where you're at now, right? That was your next.
Yeah, so in 2013,
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
started my current job.
Okay, yeah, that's when I started grad school. So I went to South Carolina, I went to grad school, and then I remember coming back and we were at that to trunk. We were at the brewery. And I remember
Shut
Ashley,
down, by the way.
shut the fuck up. Seriously?
Yeah, just they just closed their doors like 3 weeks ago, maybe. Some freaking huge high rise is getting built on the corner, so right across the street from them. And the owner of that shopping center said that they could jack the rent up and they couldn't afford it anymore, so they had to close doors. Sad.
That was the best what was it? The pumpkin beer with the
Mm-hmm.
so good with the
Papa
topping.
Pump. So now the only location is Tequesta, so we'll have to go to Tequesta if we ever
It's right.
want.
It's worth the drive if I'm there at the right time. Anyway, so
Yeah.
we were at Twisted Trunk. Rest in peace, you too. And um Ashley was there. And it must have been, I don't know why or what, but I remember thinking to myself, who is this? You. I was like, your viewpoints were different. The way you spoke was different. The way that you connected was different. I don't know what the fuck. And I said, and I tell people this. I was like, I don't. There was a tangible difference in who you were between. I think it was like I think I was in my first job in South Carolina, so it must have been 15 or 16. So a couple of years, and not that we hadn't seen each other. We talked, we texted. You came to South Carolina, I came home. It wasn't like we hadn't seen each other, but I think this was the first time we ever got into some of like the deeper topics that it was like a 180. You weren't the same person. You weren't reacting the same way. You weren't Queen Bee at all. I was like, what the fuck happened? I don't even know that we ever talked about that. I just kind of absorbed and recognized and appreciated the differences, but I don't know that I ever understood what the fuck. You know?
I don't know.
I mean, do you recognize the shift?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I just grew up in those couple years. Although, what, I would have been 31 to 34 at that time, I think. And
Enough.
I mean, I left working retail. I started a grown-up job.
Best Buy was a
God,
pretty
let's see
grown up
how.
job for you. I mean, that was,
Yeah,
you bought a
yeah.
house on it,
It
you started a
just
life on it. It
it
wasn't nothing.
no, no, it wasn't nothing in that sense, but it was, like your Monday to Friday, your weekends off, your holidays off. You could be like, "Hey, I'm sick," and they'd be like, "Oh, okay." See you tomorrow or go to the doctor or whatever. With Best Buy, it was like you had to be on your deathbed and
Mhm.
then you still had to come in with your doctor beside you hooked up to an IV. It was ridiculous. It was not an adult job in that sense. You
Correct.
were never trusted to be an adult, you know.
You had to fight for
This
any
job,
time
it's
off.
like,
Never spent holidays with your family.
mm-hmm.
It just wasn't.
I mean, the job was totally different, and that helped me grow up a little bit. The only other thing I can imagine was that time I was like started going through IVF, and I did that for years, and maybe that helped me realize like there's a lot more important shit than just being right all the time. I don't know, being a bitch. Like being vulnerable might be a good thing sometimes. I
Do you
don't
know where
know.
yours came from? Like mine, I explained as like a inadequacy blanket that turned into like all kinds of armor. What was yours? If you can recall. I mean, you had a tough childhood regardless, but
Yeah, If I had to guess, it was probably just that. I had to be an adult and figure shit out from a really early age. And I think it went too far, you know? Like being the one doing things on your own, like it. So I would say when I was 17, I moved to North Carolina with the guy that I was dating. We thought were going to get married, you know, get there a few months later, realize this is definitely not going to.
I was like, that is not Andy.
Not Andy, no. Realized it just wasn't going to work. We're good friends, but the relationship just wasn't going to work. And then I just went a little crazy, like doing just stupid shit, partying a lot for a while and, you know, kind of, yeah, those were my slut days. I kind of got into a relationship. It was one of those relationships where I definitely liked him more than he liked me, you know?
Always the
And that was
mistake.
it's really, really tough for me. And I don't know, I think I just went through a stage where I realized like I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. I don't know, like, I don't value me. I was just kind of going from like relationship to relationship or person to person, whatever. So I decided that I needed to just be alone. Not in the woods without a shitter, but, you know, just alone. Self reflect for a while.
Oh,
I'm a I'm a huge believer that you can't love anyone until you love yourself. Whatever that saying is.
what a
I know it's
cliche.
cliche. I do believe it though. I wholeheartedly believe it.
What
And
does
so I think I had to get to that.
what does that mean? And this is, and I'm not challenging. I truly never understood what people mean by that. Like, what does it mean to love yourself? Like, what if you were to operationalize that? I love myself if A, B, C, and D are true. What is that?
I think mostly it's you know your self-worth and you know your value, and anything less than that, it's not going to cut it. Not and that's where I say like I think I went too far with it, you know? I think that I probably could have got to a good healthy medium where I was like, "Oh, okay, now I know my self-worth and you know, I can make a relationship work with another person." But I think I just took it too far and I was like, "Fuck everyone else. Like I got this. I don't need anybody." Was my attitude after that for a long, long time. So,
If there's anything that I have learned is making people believe something about you and actually being that person are two very different things. And I have become
yeah.
so adept at convincing or behaving or dressing or some kind of external manifestation of what I want people to believe I am that I lost what it meant to genuinely be that person. So like I'll say the right thing and do the right thing and I'll say the right in the right scenario but I learned what other people wanted to hear. I became a chameleon so that I was, if it was romantic, that I was desired. So I became everything that that person wanted romantically, even if it wasn't genuinely who I was. And how is that sustainable? Because when you get 7 years down the road and you realize, well, I painted a picture of someone I'm not. I painted a picture of someone that I want to be, not who I am. And how do we get from this facade or external manifestation of who you are to literally becoming that person? And I think that has been the journey, I think, for me for the last few years. Like making people believe you don't care what they think is not the same as truly not caring what they think and living and genuinely and doing everything that you believe you want to do to be the person you want to be. I cannot believe that was such a foreign concept to me until a few years ago. And it was all kind of rooted in my professional goal. You know, all my friends know. I have been single-mindedly headed to a professional goal my entire adult life. My entire adult life. I worked at Best Buy as a means to go to undergrad. I worked my ass off in undergrad and at Best Buy to pay for it. From there, I went to South Carolina to grad school, and because of my friends and my partner at the time, I was able to do it. Everything I did was to this single-minded goal of professional success. Not even a specific one. I don't even know, because every time I got another piece of success, I was like, well, that's not it. What's next? And then I would keep doing it and keep doing it. I did that with my degrees. How many fucking degrees? How many different majors did I have? I just wanted professional success. I didn't give a fuck what it looked like. It didn't matter. I'm so glad that I actually chose something that ended up really vibing with who I am, but I may not have, because my only goal was, I think, money. I just wanted to be comfortable monetarily. And well, I do know where that came from. Right? Whatever. We can go back to parents if we need to, but we won't. I went from undergrad to grad school to South Carolina to back to Florida to Denver to just wherever I could go to get my professional success. And then I found it. I got it 2.5 years ago. This job is far beyond anything that I ever thought that I would be qualified to do. I feel good in what I'm doing, and I can afford what I want. And lo and behold, I still feel like absolute shit. What now? And so really it was like this incredible crisis of who I am and who I want to be. Okay, I have this foundational goal that I've been going after for 20 fucking years. It didn't make a difference to how I feel and how I walk through the world. So something else is the problem. Not financial stability. I have that. Okay, now inside I still feel like shit. So like that's been the work. And so think about how important this job is to me. It's literally the manifestation of a 20-year goal and a marathon I've been running forever. And that's far too much importance to place on a job, because just very recently I had an experience at work that I was like, I may not actually be as successful here as I thought. And that was a really humbling, really vulnerable place to be in, because I have now invested everything I am into my job. And every piece of success in my job is what gives me the personal feeling of success. Job is something that changes all the time. Not necessarily what you do, but the system in which you're working is going to evolve over time. The people you work with are going to evolve. All these things are going to change. And my self-worth is wrapped up in my success in this external place that I don't have control over. Like that, it's really been quite a mindfuck. And I went into the greatest depression I have ever experienced in my entire life. Right after I came home from you, right? You and Christy and my sister, my family, right? Like I was down there going through the worst breakup of my life, and work wasn't feeling good. And suddenly I had nothing to live for. Like that's everything was my job. Everything was my relationship and it being successful. There was nothing in here that made me feel worth anything. And so like it's a really interesting realization. Like I don't even know who I am. I know who I want other people to believe, but I don't actually know that I am those things. And so that started, I mean, that was fucking December. So 3 months and a ton of journaling. And like, it turns out that I am a lot more of those things than, right? I have a lot more about me. It's just a matter of letting people see those things, I think. And so in the last few months, I have really been leaning into like radical honesty. I went to work and had some of the most raw conversations I've ever had in my lifetime with some of my coworkers. And it sounded like, you know what? I wasn't really proud of myself in that interaction that we had. Can we reset? Or telling my boss, I'm sorry, that was disrespectful. I was frustrated and I should have never said those words. I should have never said those things to you. And it's never bad, but it was definitely not who I wanted to be in that space. And so it turns out, and this is the mindfuck, it turns out that the one thing that I have been avoiding my entire fucking life is literally the solution to all of my problems. People show up. When you show them who you are, people show up. Like, and I never trusted that that was true. I never trusted that was true. Since I've been doing this, like, I forged a relationship with a woman at work that I always liked her. We always liked each other. When we were doing anything work related, we had a great time and whatever. But like, I decided that I'm going to let her get to know me, like the real me. All the things that I'm telling you right now, I've told to her. And she showed up in a big way, like appreciates it and likes it and likes the vulnerability and holds space like a champ for when I'm going through something. Like I would have never trusted anyone with that except for you, Christy Pam. That's it. My whole life. And probably not even you three at different times. It's an absolute mindfuck. I don't even know what to do with it, truthfully, but think about that in romantic relationships. It's fucking crazy.
Well, so I said, or you said in relationships, you kind of became what you wanted them to see.
You know,
So kind of going back to where, I don't know, when I was in my 20s or whatever, trying to figure out like who I was, I think I was doing the same thing, but kind of in a slightly different way. So it's not that I was showing or being who I wanted people to see because I thought like that was good or made me good in that way. It was that I didn't know myself so much that I just became whatever they wanted. And I think a lot of people do that in relationships. When you don't know yourself, you don't know what you want, you don't have that self-worth value or whatever. You can just let people tell you what to think and how to feel and how to act, and it's easy. And I think that was a big thing for me, was doing that so that that didn't happen in relationships. I knew who I was and who I wanted to be, and I didn't mold myself to whatever relationship I was in after that, which was good, sort of. Sometimes there's a give and take with relationships for sure. It's a partnership and you got to work together. When we first met, I think I was a little too stoic in my ways, but I kind of changed that and became more of a listener. And
that's when your political views switched. I mean, they were switching over
well, even
time.
that,
That's, I think, that day at that brewery, I was like, sorry, what? And I remember what we were talking about. We were talking about
what?
Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. And you and Ashley had a debate because she's like, I don't know where I land on this. And you're like, you realize that All Lives Matter is just a contradiction to Black Lives Matter. And I was like, I don't even need to speak. This is crazy.
I think part of like the reason that I hung on to my political views so much was for the same reasons. Like that's what I thought was kind of already built into me, and I just wasn't going to let anybody in to try to change my mind. And I didn't listen to people much. I was very, I knew whatever I knew, and that was good enough. I do think that is a lot of that just comes from, my childhood and not be so dead set on whatever I thought my opinion was. Started listening to opposing arguments. That's a good thing. I still do it now, but
getting harder.
Yeah. Oh man, I heard a quote the other day and it said, if you're not a Democrat by the time you're 30, you don't have a heart. If you're not a conservative by the time you're 50, you don't have a brain.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I gotta figure this one out. I don't know how that one works, but I don't think it's considering today's
right
climate.
Yeah, right.
But I guess there's a statistic that the older you get, the more conservative you get.
Makes sense.
That's what I was saying. But
seems to be the
opposite.
I guess I did the opposite. So far, but
yeah, me too.
We'll see. Maybe this will be going still when we're 50. So
right,
we'll see.
Who knows?
Okay. All of this, like, I've had like moments of this stuff come up. Like when I'm like, oh, I hate how I was in that relationship. It's always in hindsight, right? Like Dwayne, for example, female.
Well, now people are going to be like, are you straight or are you gay?
Dwayne is a pseudonym for a female. You know who you are if you're watching. No, just kidding. We're still really good friends. So Dwayne and I were together for over 6 years. And the best person you could ever want to be with, right? Just, I don't know. How do you describe her?
Super kind, very sweet, considerate.
Yep. Accommodating.
She was fun. She's bright. Yeah.
All the things.
All the things.
Fun. Down for whatever. Like she would never say no to anything. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Down for whatever. And right before her, I had just a crazy experience. Okay, if you're a lesbian and you're watching, you're first. Okay. The first. They could be as crazy as it doesn't matter. You are stuck like glue when you think you're in love because you just realized you like women and she let you do things. That was the one before her. And so after that crazy, I meet Dwayne And she is just such a relief, right? Just such a relief. So easy to talk to confide in,
Easygoing.
easygoing. Yes. Like down for whatever, just so easy. Right. And I, I mean, I fell hard. I fell quick because that safety felt so good, but I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle the stability. I couldn't handle the ease. I was so frustrated and irritated, not because of her. It was never her. It was me. It was my problem in this space without challenge and something that feels what the fuck? Like, okay, we met when I was 22 or 23, whatever, one of those. So I don't know what the gay version of dating the bad boy is, okay? But I hadn't really had it. I had the crazy bitch before that, but that was just crazy. It was like it was this impassioned, drunken crazy. Like I wanted a relationship with someone who was challenging and whatever. And she was like, "Yeah, okay, I see your point of view." Like, "Oh, okay, yeah." Like, "Okay, great." So easy. So beautiful. So I don't know why. I was not in a place to appreciate that at all. I bored. And I know that that sounds unkind, but it's truly not, it wasn't her. It was me not being healthy enough that I needed drama. Like I needed drama. I needed something.
I think it's a pretty common thing for people to want to be challenged in relationships
Yeah.
and not
Well,
have them so easygoing
is it
all the
though?
time.
Is it though?
Yeah, I mean,
Because
when
when you get into challenging relationships, like right now,
you want
holy
you
shit,
want easy.
but I want easy from that person. I want easy from the person who's challenging. Because does that make any sense? I don't want
Yes.
it to be easy because I'm right all the time. I want it to be easy because somebody, like, I am so connected and in love with somebody that, like, we're both challenging, but, like, it's easy because we know we're supposed to be here. I feel like my current situation is the closest thing I've ever had to that. And only when, only when I'm my healthiest, and I mean fucking monk like, okay, is when this relationship can be that way. Is how it feels. And I'm not that human. I'm not perfect like that. But like it almost fools you into thinking if you do enough of the work, that can work. Like if I could become monk like,
I don't think you can become monk-like and it work.
I mean,
It sounds like you're both going to have to go a little bit in the opposite direction and find some middle ground. I don't think it's just you have to go,
right.
polar opposite to accommodate. I think you both have to kind of go
But isn't and
somehow.
I'm joking when I'm saying monk like, but if we're our best selves in any relationship, like what you just said, if I was able to show up to conflict and be more worried about how she's feeling rather than being the villain, wouldn't that have this work? But that's what I
Yeah,
can't do. That's my toxic trait, I guess. I don't know. And I wish that I could show up that way all the time, but I can't.
it's possible you might be able to do it.
I don't know. 100% success rate
Have
feels hard. Not gonna lie.
Oh, well, yeah. I don't even think anyone should shoot for 100%. I would start with just small improvements. What are you at now? 10%? Let's try 20.
Let's
Okay?
oh, we're doing harm reduction. Okay. I s-
Let's be let's be realistic.
but to go back, like with Dwayne, right? That relationship was my first realization of this thing inside me that I hate in relationships. And that thing shows up over and over and over again. And like it manifests differently in each of my relationships. But the core of what is actually going wrong in those relationships and how I show up to it, and obviously it takes two people, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But the things that I bring into to fuck it up, it's the same thing. It just looks different depending on the relationship you're talking about. With Dwayne, it came out as boredom and frustration. And truthfully, I didn't even like who I was anymore in that relationship because I was so frustrated that I didn't even treat her like she deserved to be treated as this super sweet, accommodating, beautiful human But I was
Yeah.
treating her, of all people, like that because of this thing. This thing needs to be
Well,
challenged, right? This toxicity in me. What is it?
well, I think anytime you're in a relationship where you get to a point where you're not happy for whatever reason, I think you also start to try to find things in the other person that you really don't like, because it's easier if you can be like, oh, I actually just don't like this person. It's not that, I'm not showing up to this relationship in the right way, because it couldn't be my fault, right? So I think you do start to find things about the person you don't like, and then you just feed off of those. And then the more you do that, the longer you do that, then it just becomes a terrible relationship, and it ends because you were a shitty person, somewhat on purpose, because you didn't want to be in the relationship anymore. I did the same thing. When I met Andy, I thought it would be a short-lived relationship. I definitely did not think that we were going to end up married or anything like that. I mean, I liked him. I thought he was really nice, super smart, funny. I liked all the things about him, but I definitely didn't feel challenged. Exactly the same thing. I thought he was just too nice and too polite. And I was used to just very challenging relationships. I just thought, we're just kind of having fun. And I don't mean, not like I needed to be challenged because I think everything that I say is right or just need the drama. People that challenge you in relationships in a good way, they might just expose you to different viewpoints, different ways of thinking. Someone that's had different experiences, and you can share your different experiences and might give you different insight or something. Or someone that inspires you or encourages you and kind of pushes you to do things that you wouldn't normally do, even if it's like personal or like professional goals, whatever it is. Just somebody that challenges you to kind of be your better self. And when we started dating, we definitely didn't have that. We were just, just hanging out and having a good time, and just kind of wanted someone to hang out with and have fun with. It definitely wasn't like we were trying to go through this relationship like, how can I support you to be your best self and get you where you want to be professionally and personally? Not at all. But I also did think that he was just too nice, and I didn't know if it would quite work. So I don't know. Sometimes I think it might be a woman thing, or I thought it was. It's definitely not like a hetero relationship thing. But I
Wait, what
always
is
thought
it?
it was kind of like wanting to be challenged in that way. Not all the things I said, but just a little bit of like, I'm gonna tell you no every now and then kind of challenge, and you're like, wait, what? I'm used to getting
Yeah.
things are my way. I don't think that's I've always personally thought of that as like a girl thing. But it may not be. It's a weird thing, because so in the same breath that you're like, oh, I'm a feminist, you're also like, I kind of want a guy that tells me what to do every now and then. Like, how sick am I?
I mean, that's kind of the same thing I was just saying. Yeah. He tells you no now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I don't think it was until we had our first little tiff or whatever that I was like, oh shit, I think I can marry this dude. That's fucked up. I think that makes me a little messed up?
What? That's what I was just saying. I'm telling you.
I know.
Well,
And that's why
damn. But
I
you're still
said I don't.
married, so you're way healthier than me. I'm after that. Hang on. Two relationships from that.
I was just saying, I don't think you're the only one that does. I
Well,
think it's a pretty common thing. I think
you're
I think we're
healthier,
all just a
okay?
little.
I know that's what you were trying to say.
Uh, dude, relationships are so hard.
Dude,
So hard. Like
real.
I can. This is where like I don't even know how therapists,
We are not experts.
not experts, no, but it seems like so hypocritical. Most therapists, couples therapy, I feel like they're all probably just total hypocrites. Like, I bet you just told me how to fix this up in like 5 steps, and like you never take any of them. I'm thinking. You know what I mean? They're telling you all the perfect steps because it's easier to like tell you how than to actually fucking do it. It is hard to do it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the times, even on the last episode, I think I was telling you, like, I know how I'm supposed to interact with people. I know the right way to do it. I just can't. It's too fucking hard.
Mm.
I can tell you shit that sounds great. But in practice, it's like, that's fucking hard.
Yeah. My couples therapist was a pretty grouchy old lady.
Single. That should disqualify her for
You know
couples
what?
therapy.
I don't even know that she's single, but I assume she's single. And I shouldn't know that she's single. And then we got another one that was better, but also I think probably single. So here's the defense for the profession, right? The things that, first of all, the point of therapy isn't usually to get through steps. It's usually to create a space for insight for you to be looking in a very objective thing. I don't care what you're saying or what you just, you're allowed to have that space to do the thinking that you can't do by yourself and have it reflected back. Like, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm reflecting back what you're saying. And then you get to hear it again. And then you're like, wait, I don't know that that is what I wanted to say. Or I didn't say that. And then you become defensive. And then I know that that's what you said, but it's not what you intended to say. And so that's it. And it's this game that we're playing all of the time to just get you to think differently. Not a game. It's not a game. There are strategies in what they're doing, usually, if they're any good, but like they shouldn't be the expert in the room. That's not the goal. I mean, we're the expert in like, okay, that means this, or
The
this could
strategy.
mean this, or that could be connected to that what she told me earlier. Like that's my job, right? Like to pull and to understand the psychology of what's happening and reflect that back to you. And there's strategy and there's
Yeah.
modalities and there's, styles and there's all kinds of things. But like, and not that I feel like I need to defend, but the education we have is doing that, not how to be in a perfect relationship. And it's like,
Yeah.
if we could actually do the things for ourselves that we're doing for other people, we would be great in fucking relationships. But the bottom line is that we can't and we suck and we're worse at it than most people because we don't do it for ourselves because we've learned how unimportant we are in any room because we are. Therapy is not for us. What we do day in, and I'm not even a therapist. She is. I was for a long time, and I remember feeling this way. Like day in and day out, you're in rooms and you matter not at all. And that's the goal, right? To just be this like objective, reflecting, safe thing. It's kind of, I don't even feel defensive. I'm just like, I felt that way too. And then someone said something to me one day, a professor of mine, and she was like, all right, but if you have cancer, is it important to you that your doctor has cancer? Is it important
Makes
that they
sense.
have the experience that you're trying to get through? Because challenge is challenge. I felt the same way until I was a therapist. They're not supposed to be necessarily the expert, but
Yeah. That makes sense. Like I said in the beginning, I think a lot of my own relationship issues, at least, are just that I don't communicate effectively. I don't want to communicate. Well, honestly, one of my biggest problems is that I will stop communicating. When I'm mad, I know that I could be a very mean, spiteful person if I wanted to be. So usually, like if we get into an argument, I will just walk away because I know the best thing for me is to just take some time and figure out why I'm so mad or what the real problem is. Otherwise, I'll just be mean and nasty and
okay.
not get anywhere.
Now, what if your partner didn't let you leave?
Well, I mean, then I would just say really mean, nasty things. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's like the definition of our problem, our biggest problem. I think the easiest way to explain it would be as much as I need to walk away, she needs me there. So,
Well,
which,
that is really tough.
yeah, so which
Which need is more?
neither, and we know that neither is more, but the only way to really fix that is to make it ours, our need. When this happens, what do we need in a shared space? Because like if one is abandonment and one is
Does she just need comfort then? Maybe not the conversation?
probably, yeah, but I need to walk away to be able to give that.
So just silence
I mean, it
won't
might.
work for you.
It
Like,
it might. It might. I don't know that we've gotten to a place to try other things. Like I don't
yeah.
we haven't like we have just failed so miserably so many times because of exactly that like I think if we're even ever headed that way now, we're like we don't. Oh, bless you. I thought you were thinking.
Thank you. Oh no, I had to sneeze. Sorry.
Oh, that's funny. That's the interesting thing about this relationship. Like, that's only one example, but everything is that way. Everything is yin to yang. It's like what she needs is exact opposite of what I need in like 100 different things. So it's like every time either one of us are making the choice to not get what we need for the other. Like it's like
Yeah.
it's such a mind fuck. And we both do that, but then become resentful that we have to do that. It's because like in my one of my best self, I was joking calling it monk like, but in my best self, where in any situation when my partner is in front of me, I just want that person to be okay. I just want them to feel loved and to be like I of course that's what I want. And when I feel attacked, I don't care because you're attacking me. Like stop. And I'm not she's her argument is she's not attacking me. It's how I'm receiving that. Or a little bit of both. But I can't stay in that place when I'm feeling attacked. And I have to leave so that I don't feel attacked so I can come back and is the opposite of what she needs. And that happens in so many ways. It's fucking crazy. Which the synergy that we have is both beautiful and toxic. And I feel like we could I think that's the choice. This relationship can either be our greatest lesson in life, bring us to beautiful things, or it can just be the thing that takes us out because it has that too. And I think that's what we're kind of exploring right now. But like,
Well, I would imagine that's especially difficult for you because need to do is say, no, I'm not going to get anything I need in this moment, and I'm going to give you everything you need while you're feeling attacked. I don't know that you can, like, your body is just not even going to want to, like, let that happen.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's okay. I think a lot of us feel that way. You don't want the person you love to have to leave you to be okay. That doesn't feel good. I get that. And I know it's a me problem. I need to leave because I'm going to be unkind otherwise. That's fucking shitty. So it's kind of like this white knuckling thing. Grit your teeth and make really tight fists and say the things that she needs to hear and just give her what she needs. And it's maybe 20% of the time can be successful. 30 now, maybe. Quite literally, the synergies. It's what makes this the only thing that's ever been worth this work. This is either the greatest thing ever or like just what it's been.
And you try giving her like a stuffed animal that looks just like you. Build her a Christina bear.
I can propose that.
And
in our
when you
next-
need to walk away, just say, here, hold me.
I'll try that. I will
I
try
don't know,
that.
dude. That's incredibly tough.
Totally.
Because I know the feeling of just needing to walk away, but I get it. Like I'm allowed to do that, and then I come back and I'm like more level headed and I can have a conversation. But if without that, it would just be like fucking really bad heated arguments, and
Explosive.
it'd probably end up with me walking out the door. It used to be before I'd realized I needed my time. I once left my house with a packed bag because he brought me a chicken salad from Taco Bell. I was livid. And this is why.
Wait. What were the feelings
Okay.
underneath that? Because it
Well,
wasn't about the chicken salad. No fucking way.
no, it was the comment he made. So I actually like in
You
hindsight, it
want a
was
chicken
one of,
salad. You want chicken. You wanted what was the I remember this.
yes, I lost it. Okay, so I have always been a beef taco salad girl. Like
Yep.
it's ground beef or nothing. And so I asked for a taco salad. And as soon as he got, like, he knew because he walked in and he sat it down and he goes, they didn't have beef. They only had chicken. And I was like, just huffing, like in an attitude, whatever. I'm like, man, chicken salad. And at some point he goes, I've seen you eat chicken before. Just fucking eat it. Like, that was it. It was the comment
I remember that.
heard around the world.
Oh, I remember that.
And now I think I could be like, okay, let me just take a minute and put my words together to let him know that I feel disrespected in the moment, whatever it was, whatever feelings. Instead, I was just like, and fucking left. Went, packed a bag, got all the way to my mom's house.
You squawked?
Yeah.
Squawked out of
Oh,
there.
we squawked out of there.
Oh God, that's funny.
And I know that his point was like, okay, I just brought home dinner. I was trying to do the right thing. They didn't have what I knew she wanted. I got her something. I thought she'd like it. And then you get home and you get nothing but attitude the whole time because Taco Bell didn't have ground beef.
Yeah, to beat your ass. That's fucked
Yeah.
up. That's not right.
So, I mean, this guy just got home from work, you know, he brought you dinner, trying to relax, you know, and you got a bitch about chicken.
Seen you eat chicken before. Just eat the fucking chicken. I mean,
It was just like,
I think it's fair feedback though.
it really was.
I remember that.
I was just being like a spoiled little brat in the moment, you know?
I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't the most respectful thing I've ever heard, and I probably would have reacted harshly also. But like, it's kind of funny and true. That's funny.
I don't even know if he threw fucking in there, but I heard
You know,
just fucking eat it.
I think that was the quote because I think it was texted to me probably seconds later. Oh.
Can you believe what this guy just said?
I probably co-signed your shit too. I was like, oh, he didn't. How disrespectful.
Pack your bag, come here.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I have like 82 relationships and you have one. So,
I'm not sure how you work on that one. I was thinking maybe like if you do like some sort of wall with like just a hole through it. Hear me out. It's not the kind of wall you're thinking about, okay? It's just for like holding hands, you know? So like you can have your room with your space for a minute, but you're still there. You just hold her hand.
listening.
It could work. That's better than the bear.
Well,
my first thought was
I
like
think
if
the first
you
kind of hole would be more fun.
you guys are like in the middle of a
You're
fight and you're like,
lesbians,
get to
the hole. The hole's gonna have to be. What's the shape of a lesbian glory hole?
a triangle, I guess. Would it have to be like a hand hole? It have to be like your whole hand though, right?
Okay, you're not even gonna cut this out. Okay, go ahead.
Can't talk about glory holes. All right, why not? I don't care.
That's really funny. Anyway,
My first thought was if you could just say like, okay, I'm feeling attacked right now. I can't have a constructive conversation, and then just like hold her. I know that sounds silly, but like don't talk. Just kind of have your head silence moment. But while also still, but that's weird too because you just felt attacked and like you don't want to hug this person right now. So, yeah.
but
So that's why I was like, well, maybe a
should be
bear.
able to.
I don't know that that's I mean, I don't know that that's a realistic ask that you should be able to. Like who says you should be able to? I don't even want to be touched by the other person when I'm mad.
You know, she needs me to hold her, and that should be more important. And maybe she's right for a healthier human than I am. I don't know. And apparently you as well.
I could definitely like say there's been times in our relationship though where I felt like I just needed to feel like safe in our relationship, loved by him. So a hug was gonna do it. I don't know what it's like to feel like that though, and then to be like, oh, you know, I'd probably be like, oh, fine. You know, like what's that?
That is pretty much.
Even if I got that,
That is what. Yeah, that's what would happen if at all.
I unplugged my headphones. Oh, thank God.
Stupid.
I get so hot with these things on. My glasses get all foggy. I get all sweaty. I don't like wearing them, but I couldn't hear you without them for some reason.
You should try living in Denver. That fixes that right up.
I don't know if I could deal with how cold it is. I could deal with a little cold, or I could deal with really cold for a little while, but I don't think I could do really cold for a long time.
Okay.
Double whammy.
Okay. I am recently 50 pounds lighter, and it's winter. Okay. I hate it, and I can handle it. It is not what people say it is. And I know that everybody says that. But like cold on the East Coast, it like cuts through whatever you're wearing. It doesn't matter. It's that wet cold. Ugh, it's so bad and so cold. That is not how cold is here. Now, if it's windy, it cuts. Like, but still not as bad as that. This was my 5th winter or 4th winter, one or the other. I think maybe there was like 5 or 6 days over all of the winters, maybe like 10, that were like 0 or below. Like it's not a common thing. And it doesn't even feel like below like it would on the East Coast. Most of the time, it's annoying. It's like It's like that, like it's just too cold. Like you want to get inside. It's like just too cold most of the time in the winter. And then sometimes it's like 50 during the day and then like 20 at night. So it's just like you got to get inside. It's not like unmanageable. It'll snow, and then because we're so close to the sun, it'll melt quickly. And then when the night comes, it freezes into ice, and then it becomes dangerous to drive and stuff. That's the annoying part. There's a lot of accidents, a lot of black ice, a lot of like slipping, a lot of shoulder slips, a lot of shit like that because it's actually really warm. Like when it snows, it's actually warm because we're so close to the sun. So
Yeah.
it's not as bad, I promise. If you ever want to live in a place that like has a winter, this one is probably one of the best. It has to be. I can't imagine it's not. And right now, it's March, right? March. Let me see. Today, the high is 60. Tomorrow, the
Today
high.
the high is 91.
So like when the sun goes down now, it's like in the 20s and 30s, which is super cold to a Floridian, but it's really not. And during the day, it was.
Yeah, well, the low here today was 64, and that's really cold for me.
Yeah, 64. Cold for you.
Yeah.
Interesting. You see, that's one thing people say about Colorado. It's a dry heat. Okay, listen. I am from Florida, so yes, I can be an expert. I've experienced both. Okay, humid heat and dry heat. Both suck so bad. It just sucks. All of it sucks. Maybe Colorado's better because your bangs aren't like stuck to your, like you don't have that wave when you walk out of your house. You do, you just don't sweat a bunch because of it.
I think
It's like being
a
in
humid
in an
heat is
oven.
way worse.
You think so?
Yeah. Humid heat's way worse. I could
Right.
do a dry heat. Even when we were in Vegas, like, okay,
Oh,
yeah, cool.
whoa.
It's like 90 something and it's a dry heat. I'm totally fine with it.
Oh, I hate it. It's like take your breath away. I'm like, I feel like I'm in an oven. Bleh. At least,
Yeah, but
but
the other
humidity,
one
I
is
can
like,
breathe.
but humidity, it's like you're in an oven after you were dunked in water.
Yeah,
That's gross.
but I can breathe. But the thing is, like, it's like the altitude plus the dry is really fucking hard.
The altitude is really tough for me.
And maybe it just gets better like with time, but I think the dryness and the suffocation along with the thin air, it's just it's
Yeah.
so oppressive. I hate it. Or and I might just be used to humid heat because that's where I'm from.
Don't have to lotion as much. When I'm in Colorado, I have to lotion like constantly.
Oh yeah, and drink water just like nonstop, just nonstop.
Yes.
And I'm still not good at that, and I feel it when I don't. It's crazy. You get like physically ill.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy. But you should come.
Well, yeah,
It's great here.
so great. So why didn't you take Remy hiking anywhere in like?
You know what?
Why'd you go away for the day?
I wanted the away experience, being in the beautiful mountain. And it was beautiful for like
You got that
47 minutes or so. I was like,
at 48 minutes. Fucking done.
yeah, only 20 more hours to go. It was beautiful. It's like, oh, now I'm in the thing that I see all the time. Got my window, I can see mountains. Now I'm just in them. Beautiful,
And then
different perspective. And then, not to mention, I was like scared of bears and wolves, and I don't even know what's out there. I don't fucking know.
True.
So the minute it got dark, I was like, well, Remy could be having the best last time of her life if she doesn't get in here soon. I'm just saying, this is not fake. This is not a national park. This is like the real shit. So, and even national parks have wildlife. Anyway, well, relationships are hard.
Did we figure them all out?
No.
Took this one episode. We got it all figured out.
We will solve the world's problems though, in time. This one's not.
Before we solve relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think
dude, low key, are you a little bit afraid of getting on a plane?
After we booked, it like hit me and I go, oh my God, I don't know if I can get on the plane. Yeah. This is the first time I'm scared to fly.
Me too. I know.
And I have to do it like 4 fucking times. 4 different planes.
Dude. Sorry, I cut you off for that, but I was like, there's no way she's not thinking about the flight.
I wasn't at first. And then we booked it and I was like, oh shit, I'm a little scared. So we have like 2 weekends and then we're in Austin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we do an Austin version?
I mean, I can
Like,
take my laptop, but
I mean, is there a way to like record different content in different ways and upload it in the same way? We were having a stupid conversation. We wanted to record it. Could you just upload that like live content?
I'm sure.
Let's think about that. If there's anything
Yeah.
cool happening when we're out there.
Okay. So what happened with your haircut? No? You're not doing it?
Might.
Okay.
Still thinking about it. But look what happened. Losing weight. Look, I have a butt.
Well, look at that butt.
I need surgery immediately. Short hair will bring that a little bit more noticeable, which I don't like. I said this to my sister and she told me I'm crazy. You see the butt, look, live. Nope. That ain't it.
What did your sister say?
Shut up. I don't see anything.
From like a professional standpoint, though, like, what would she suggest to somebody?
I don't know. I'm going to have her on as a guest. Michelle.
Yeah?
Face is fix. What is that?
I use this serum. It's Estee Lauder. It's called Advanced Night Repair. And it's like a serum stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Works really good for like smoothing this out.
Send it, please.
I'll send it to you. It's a little pricey, but it's worth that.
That's fine.
It's the only one I've used that works.
I mean, surgery will work.
This is cheaper than surgery. Surgery will work right away.
Correct. I think I'm going to go in and just get everything done at once.
What do they do with your neck, though? Like
I don't know.
Forehead lift? What do you call that?
I don't. Facelift?
People do that, you know.
A
Facelift.
Yeah.
How much stuff is there?
Fix a jerky neck. It's a neck lift. The surgeon makes incisions, often under the chin or behind the ears, to remove excess skin and fat.
Yeah, sounds right.
I think my
that's
problem
accurate.
is the lack of fat. Fat that used to be there, and now it's a butt.
Yeah, not fat, but skin.
Yeah.
What all do you want to do?
That's one.
What else?
I want a neck lift. I want a tummy tuck.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
definitely go tummy tuck. Do not go lipo. That shit hurts so bad, and it's
Did you do
not
lipo?
worth it. I did.
You did?
Terrible. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I never saw any results, by the way. Not a one.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh.
I did immediately, like the next day when I went in, you know, just have my doctor check me out and stuff. I was like, oh, wow, looks pretty good. And then immediately your body starts swelling and you have to wear like a really tight suit for a while. And I felt like the suit was never tight. I don't know if that like was part of the problem or not.
Huh.
But then like as soon as my swelling went down, I was like, there's no change. Like what did you lipo? And I heard
Did you
something
actually
they could
ask
do
them?
like
Did he say something?
yeah, and I heard the most they can take is like 5 liters or something. I don't think it matters how big you are. Like 5 liters is just the max. So I asked him, I'm like, how many liters did you take? And he was like 1.5. And I was like, it's not even close to 5. He's like, if I would have taken 5, you wouldn't have had any. Like I couldn't take 5. And I was like, no, I expected
What about 3?
5 liters to be gone. Yeah, like whatever. Take
Take
more than you think, apparently. Yeah.
I
You couldn't even get a 2-liter, bro? Come on, fill up a Coke bottle and let's move on.
yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. I just want to remove the skin.
Yeah, that's a tuck though. That's where they like cut you and remove the skin and
all that.
sew you back up.
Yeah. Take it.
Do that.
Take it. And I'm considering a boob job, but only because I've lost all of my boobs.
Proportion.
0 boobs.
I got a tiny boob job. In hindsight, I would have gotten bigger boobs.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you end up getting? I don't remember.
I think it was like 360 cc's.
Oh.
I can look on my card.
I remember the pictures
But-
you sent me. Not of you, of like
Yeah.
the examples. I'm like,
Yeah.
were they like a C?
They
Like a
seemed
small
bigger.
C? Okay.
A small C. But I think in hindsight, I should have gone like D or something because it's not proportionate. I'm a bigger body. I should have gone bigger boobs.
Word. Honestly, I just want what I had back. But
Yeah.
I don't know that I want implants either. Like, I don't feel like I'm that kind
Well-
of person. Implants?
I don't mind them.
Do you like
I was never against them.
do they feel different? Like
No.
on your body?
No. I kind of thought like something like that might happen. Like just
Yeah.
psychologically, like I altered my body and now it's different. But no.
Okay. I'm fine with taking away. I think it's the adding that I'm like,
Yeah.
I've always wanted my body taken away. I don't know. I've never considered having a boob job. And
Yeah.
why?
More than anything, I just liked the shape it was going to give me. I didn't like the shape that I had before. So that's why it wasn't like a size thing. It was just more of a
filling it out kind
shape
of
thing.
thing. That's kind of what it is
And
for
that's
me
why I
right
went with.
now. I never had that problem, and now I kind of do.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna do it earlier. Like,
You know,
you don't want to be 60 and be like, oh man, I wish I would have got that boob job.
well, I'm gonna decide. I'm going under the knife one time. Whatever I decide to do in that time, that's what's gonna happen. So
yeah, that's why. So when I was getting my eyes done, that's why I was like, well, if I ever want boobs, now's the time to do them.
truth.
So
Yeah,
that's when I did it.
I definitely want the tummy tuck, and like honestly, this might tighten up, but I'm gonna get to my goal weight and then do it all of it.
Yeah.
And then hopefully that becomes a sustainable body for myself, and I don't yo-yo again. But that doesn't. Who knows? Did that hurt your ears?
No.
Good. Sorry.
I think it only lets it go so loud.
Oh, good, because it was going up to 160 by its fucking self first time around. There were some ghosts in that room. Now that I see what we're doing here, I should have just gone into the fucking living room. Like,
Oh, I know. It would have
stupid.
been so much easier.
Why didn't we do that?
I don't know if it's just the mics suck, but like mine kept picking up yours. Oh shit, we only have 2 minutes before it cuts us off.
All right. Any last content?
No, ma'am.
It's really interesting that we're finding it easy to put together 3 hours of random
just chatting.
Yeah, it's interesting. Does that make
now if we can just find people to listen?
That's not the goal here.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
I was thinking maybe we could, I don't know, like if I wasn't sure if I wanted to do like an episode actually getting into IVF or not, because it's one of those things that it's just like so common, but yet it's still like a taboo thing to talk about.
Is it? No, let's do it then.
Yeah.
If you're okay with it. I mean, I'll bring the same ignorance I brought to our conversation on the phone the other day.
Okay.
And you'll just be the expert.
That's good. Yeah.
Well, I have kind of been thinking the like now or never kind of question around kids for me. Yeah. So it's like kind of slamming me in the face right now.
Yeah.
So I'll have some
That's
stuff
when it does it.
out.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for attending my TED Talk.
Thank you.